Well, I don't think the car cost probably only. I probably had 2,000 in it to build it. You know, I mean, it was inexpensive at that time. It was a lot of money at the time, but today's money, it doesn't look like much. But I just wanted to build a nice roadster. I was talking to Alex one day. I said, you know, I really got to get some body work done, and I don't know who to go to. Well, Neil Emery, he said, why don't you go see Neil Emery? He worked for a place out in Burbank at the time, but he was just getting ready to open up his place, Valley Custom Shop. And so I went out and talked to him, and by the time he opened his shop, had my roadster body in there, and they did quite a bit of work on it and got it all straightened out. I had about 3 or 4 roadster bodies that I took apart and put to make one good body. They were cheap then and easy to come by, so I just went through, and if they had a dent in it or rotted away, well, I'd remove the part, and I got another one and bolted in place and just throw the rest of it away. The doors the same way. I wanted the early doors because they didn't have outside door handles, and of course, you could have filled the holes in, but I thought this was a good way to go. So I found an old pickup body out in Reseda, out in the valley at a farm, out in the field. They had it sitting there, and I bought the doors from the guy for, I think, $2 or something, and used those doors, and that was basically how I did it. Neil came up with a lot of nice ideas and things, and the way he did just on certain parts of the body that he worked on. And then we came time to build the front end. Well, I'd had the engine and everything pretty much in it by then, and I so took it out to Valley Custom and told them that I kind of a nose I wanted. And Neil, it was an old gas station that he'd used that didn't sell gasoline anymore, and there was all this cement out there, so he kind of drew it on the ground and in chalk and says, how's this look? And I said, yeah, that'd look great if you can do that. So then he took welding long rods, and he made like a bird cage look to see what the front end, how it would shape and clear everything and all that. And I went from there. And I didn't have the radiator built yet, but I had one made to fit in there. And that was how the design came about. And then he just started buying aluminum and start forming it. I think in the nose piece there was about 18 pieces of aluminum, and he didn't have any great welding. He just welded with acetylene, and he used aluminum rod with flux on it, and it was pretty to weld the aluminum with a torch. So it was pretty good. Then he'd hammer weld it. Then he hammered it all to make it smooth and formed the body on it. Formed the nose. And the grill, we didn't know what kind of a grill to have, so I went to a surplus place out there in Burbank and bought some aluminum rod. It was just about 1/4 inch, I think, or 5/16 aluminum rod, and I bent it around to make form the outside of the thing, and then I spaced them out and bent them, and we made them all and notched the ends together, and my friend Carl Flashman welded them, each one in there, and we welded them and filed them down, and I just polished the aluminum for the grill. And when I made the Nerf bars, the ones to the front and the rear, I went up, bought 3/4 cold roll, and where I needed to on the front ones, I had to put two bolts on there, so I put them in a lathe and turned the ends and threaded them and then I used those pieces, and I just kept heating it with a torch and bending until I had the nose on there and just wanted to clear it a certain distance, and then I decided to make that front piece like it was. And it bounced around a lot, so I put a bracket underneath inside that kind of holds it. So that's how the Nerf bars came about. They were just 3/4 cold roll, and I liked teardrop tail lights, so I formed them, the back end to fit the tail light shape, and
Hang on one sec, just let this plane go over.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
That's
Plane, airplane.
Oh, I thought it was my hand.
No.
I didn't even hear the plumb.
These things pick up everything, including that vacuum.
Is that from the house? Or
Yeah.
outside? That's okay. And then you were talking about teardrop.
Yeah, I had the teardrop taillights, Ford taillights, and I had the lens and the little chrome bezel that goes on them. So I formed a 3/4 cold roll for each tail light, and I needed a little box to put the light in. So I went up to the junkyard and found, I think it was a Buick, the ashtrays. I took the ashtray out, the part you dump, and that was in pretty good shape. So I found 2 of them in this Buick and bought them from the guy for a nickel or something. And that's what I used to put the light in. And then we formed it for a license plate at the time. Of course, license plates then were quite a bit longer. Now they're shorter, so that it doesn't. The new license plates don't fit too good in there. They're a little bit small. And that's how I sort of formed that. And then I wanted a belly pan on it, and so Neil made a belly pan for the car out of aluminum, and we made it in each side coming under and left the center section open. And I had a piece, the aluminum, that when I went to the lakes, I could put I had Zeus fasteners, could put it up, but I didn't want it all the time because if grease dripped, and I didn't want to collect all that grease in there. And when I needed to put the belly pan on, I was working on something then. I couldn't go out and help Neil put it on because I used to go out there and work with him on the car, save a little bit of money. So Dean Batchelor actually put the belly pan on that Roadster, and he was kind of working at Neil's for a while and hadn't gotten settled yet on anything he was going to do. And so he was, the belly pan was put on by Dean Batchelor. So when we went up there at Pebble Beach, and I was with Donna Roscoe, they also got the Dean Batchelor Award, and I thought it was kind of clever because he had worked on the car, but nobody realized that at the time.